Hello, and welcome to the Charmed Life podcast. This podcast is all about magic, metaphysics, mysticism, and the unconditional love of the universe. And I am your host. My name is Tricia Carr. I am bringing to you in this episode a conversation with the magical, the witchy Stephanie C. Weinman. Stephanie is a witch. She is an eclectic witch, meaning that she is working in all different manner of witchcraft, whether that is kitchen witchery or hedge witchery. And she works with potions, she works with rituals and spells. And we are actually teaching a witchcraft workshop coming up in just a couple of days. So it's over Halloween weekend. It's the 30th and 31st. So be sure to check the description if you want to be a part of this. But in this conversation, Stephanie and I actually got together to talk about paganism. Now, paganism has suffered some disrepute from church and government, especially in the Dark Ages. And, really what paganism is, spirituality that involves the earth and natural spirituality. So we talk about that a little bit. And we actually got together live for this. So this is from a live stream that we did, a live podcast, if you will. And we did it about a week ago, but at the time that this is being published. But I wanted to make sure that you heard it because I know some folks are only listening to the podcast and some other folks are on YouTube and Instagram and all of those places. So without any further delay, I hope you enjoyed this conversation about Mother Gaia, earth magic, witchcraft, and a little bit of the history of all of this with me and Stephanie C. Weinman, and I'll chat with you on the other side. We're really excited to be here with you today. Stephanie and I wanted to have a chat with Stephanie. I wanted to learn all about your witchcraft practice and about paganism. I wanted to learn everything about it. So Stephanie and I we're both, well, I got to tell you, all y'all are witches. All y'all witches are witches. There's so much, it's interesting. The term witch, the etymology of it, as I read recently, really has something to do with possibly, they're not positive, but possibly to do with the one who sees. And so it was like, basically to be able to see a different reality, to be able to see a possibility. And that's kind of what the word derives from. And then the advancement of it really is a person who's like a shaman or a medicine person, someone who works with nature and spirit. And then, of course, it went dark with persecution and all of these other times. And I think the modern spiritual practices that we have, most of them come through the portal of witchcraft. And then I would say preceding that maybe is the practice of the ancient alchemists. So maybe alchemy and the practice of the alchemists precedes it because alchemy wasn't just about metals. That's what I think science thinks it is. But it's about alchemizing realities and alchemizing energies to create a new energy. Witchcraft maybe is a little later than that, but it is a beautiful practice. All of the affirmations that we do, those are spells. Working with essential oils, working with focusing your energy into an intention for a manifestation or a healing. That's just ritual. That's amazing. So anyway, Stephanie and I have a workshop that we are teaching. It is going to be on the weekend of All Hallows Eve, the High Witch holiday, or the Witches' High holiday. And it's going to be, so the 30th and 31st, and it is our witchcraft workshop, and it's going to be amazing. Not only are we teaching about it, we're also going to be holding some sacred rituals. So we're actually going to be shifting and making the energy, seeing the energy together, and it's going to be wonderful. So having said that, do check back here, this description, or you can go to, actually I should pull it up while we're here. While I'm doing that, Stephanie, what would you please let everyone know a little bit about your awakening as a witch? Did you have an awakening as a witch or your journey as a witch? I imagine.
I did. And I would love to, I just want to go back really quick to when you were talking about alchemy, because alchemy, it just, whenever I even hear the word, it like makes my stomach do like butterfly flips. I just love it.
In a good way?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
And I love to describe it as you know how we think of Latin as the basis for all language, or ballet the basis for like all types of dance? That's how I think of alchemy, where it comes to any kind of magic or any kind of ritual, whether it's witchcraft per se, or even in religious ways. Like it's I just feel like it's the basis for all of spiritualism. That's how I feel personally.
That's amazing, because I do too. And then we've never talked about that.
No, we haven't.
Alchemy is like, it's even more ancient than maybe the craft, or it's the genesis of it from where, because I think alchemy, I think that's probably what we were doing. That's probably what we might hone in on more, our spiritual roots from the beginning of humans as a race of beings. That's what it feels like to me.
Exactly. And I just want to throw that in there while that was on my mind, because I'm sure I would forget in the next 5 minutes. So, okay. So regarding my a witchy awakening, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's an embarrassing story. It's a funny story, I think. So I would say probably about maybe 14 years ago, I was in a position in my life. I was managing a restaurant and bar. Another thing, obviously, that we have in common.
Yeah, and Olivia too.
Yeah. Oh, see. So yeah. So and I was I didn't work mornings or days. It was mostly all evenings, afternoons and evenings, and every day from like 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. there was this show on, and it's called Charmed.
Oh yes, I know, right?
And like I had already started meditating years before, after my boys were born, in the late 90s. I'd started meditating, and I'd started feeling very close to nature, and kind of getting that getting drawn into that. But I started watching this show, Charmed, and I was so drawn to watching it, and I would watch it every day. And I'm sure, as most of you know, it's a very, like pop culture, it was like primetime TV, whatever. But it kind of triggered me into realizing, I was like, why does this feel so familiar?
Yeah.
Why
some
does
of it
like this
feels right. Some of it feels like TV, but there's something that is like the foundation of it. And you're like, why does this make sense? Yeah.
There was just something that was drawing me to learning more about, at first it was Wicca, that's what I first was like, oh, maybe I should read more about that. So, because I wasn't going to base everything on a TV show called Charmed.
Why not? I have.
I mean, what the hell? Like, I identify with Piper, so whatever. But
I'm more Phoebe, so
I could see that. So,
well, she's the empath too. Remember, she was the empath.
Yes, totally, totally.
That opened up later in her. Yeah.
So I went to Barnes and Noble, and I bought my first, like, I don't remember the name of it. I wish I did. I don't even think I still have the book, which really upsets me, because it was a really amazing book. But I bought my first book, and I just started reading and learning, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is me. And it really just opened me up to really just invite all of everything, where it came to, first it was Wicca, and then I realized that wasn't exactly what was for me at this point in time, but I was definitely pagan. And I grew up Catholic, Christian. I went to Catholic school from kindergarten to 8th grade. I grew up with a Italian Roman Catholic family. So it wasn't a hard transition, though, because I knew from an early age that, Catholicism wasn't for me. It wasn't what I believed. I just, knew it just wasn't what made me comfortable and feel really whole. So I just really started diving into that and learning, and it just started progressing more and more and more over time. And it's led me to where I am now, 13 years later. Like, who knew?
I have to say, though, in Christianity, especially, or just in general, Catholicism is a very sensual religion. I mean, they use incense. They use a lot of imagery. So a lot more than, some of the crusty, dry Christian churches I went to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Holy water, you know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
the
Which holy
sacrament.
water
Yeah.
was, I'm sorry to like holy water from what I've learned and read over the years was really first produced as moon water,
Yeah.
that so it's, and I'm not going to say I had a bad experience with Catholicism. I met some really wonderful priests and nuns and, the teachers I had, but I just knew that it wasn't the right fit for me or who I was.
Well, also the Catholic Church or the Roman Church, the Church of Rome, Constantine basically was like, this is historical. He was like, if you can't beat them, join them. So it's really the pagan religion, but with Christian names on it. The mother and child deity, the Mary and Jesus. That's Jesus. Venus and Cupid. That's it. It's really it's the sun religion and they actually shifted. That the early Christian church, they actually worshipped on Sabbath, Saturday, because it was basically a new kind of Judaism, and that was the holy day. Well, they shifted it to Sunday when the Roman church was created, because that was when they worshipped the sun god on the Sunday. And so they shifted the day of worship from the Sabbath to the Sunday, because they were trying to just like, all right, let's just all
more people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They were just coalescing these paradigms, if you will, or religions, whatever you want to say.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they did that with a lot of the pagan holidays, and I've talked about this often, where it comes to Easter, was derived from Ostera, which is the spring equinox. And I mean, even Christmas is, Yule. Even goes as far as like Groundhog Day. It was literally what Imbolc really was, which is February 1st. So a lot of these things have, are these holidays or festivities that are now, that we celebrate in modern times, really all derived from these pagan festivals and holidays, centuries ago. So, and that fascinates me. I love learning about that. I love talking about it. Don't get me started.
Oh, I'm revving you up. I love, pagan, the word pagan is another one of these words, certainly coming up in the Western culture, in a Christian paradigm. Pagan just basically means devil worshippers, and it's clear
like we're heathens. Yeah,
heathens. Yeah, I love the word heathen though. I used to call myself that, because I'm like, yeah. Compared to my family, I hope I'm the heathen, because I don't want to be like them. Sorry,
no, absolutely.
I'm not talking shit, because they would all laugh. They'd be like, "It's true." Yeah, she was actually she wasn't even she was the white sheep of the family, because everybody else was the heathen. But pagan is it really just earth spirituality? What is can describe what paganism is?
Yeah. So paganism really is celebrating and connecting to nature, and really honoring nature, and sharing your energy with nature, and creating from nature. And it's really putting that cyclical energy that we have, because we are nature. Right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And it's really just putting it together with Mother Earth and with Gaia, and us communing. Mm-hmm. So that's really what paganism is communing with nature in all the seasonal energy and all the transitions that we see with our own eyes. Wherever you live in the world, you have those seasonal changes, those seasonal energy, that seasonal transitions, and we do too. And it's us communing with all of that energy and creating whatever we want, honestly, from that. That's how I feel. That's how I see how I celebrate the paganism. And I do call myself a pagan, and I don't subscribe to being, a Wiccan, or, and obviously I'm not a Satanist or anything like that. But, I am a witch, and as a witch, that's what I do. That is the big picture to me. And that to me is what, paganism is all about.
And paganism, I don't know. Are there organized religions that would of paganism at this time? Or to me, it feels like it's so old and ancient that it was just like life,
Yeah. Because that's the thing. Yep.
Yeah. because we were agrarian. So we were just in order to survive,
To survive.
we, meaning
Yes.
human beings, we worked with the earth, and we worked with
Yes.
her cycles. We worked with the stars. We worked with, the lunar energies. We worked with the elements, and that we were so directly aligned with it. It was just living.
It was
And
just living. And I feel like that's when we were, as humans, the most connected to nature, because we were literally a part of it, just as the animals were, and the changing seasons, and it was life or death. So that's what all of these festivals or holidays that are now modernized were all derived from just basic life, just living on this earth and connecting with nature in order to take care of your family, take care of yourself, take care of your community, and to survive through winters. And it's to me, it just feels so beautiful, and it feels so natural. And sometimes, I wonder, and I know this is crazy, but I wonder, did they have the right idea back then?
Yeah.
Not having, technology and electricity and all of that, because you really had that natural connection. And obviously I do appreciate everything we have now, but, you definitely lose things as we evolve and we change. There's things that you lose and there's things that you gain. There's a compromise obviously involved.
But I think that there's no, first of all, our bodies evolve very, very slowly. However much technology we have for even to lengthen our lives, and just the example that's coming up now, I've heard a doctor, an internist, say that many, or if not most men will die with prostate cancer, but not die of prostate cancer. And that's because our lives are so much longer, and our lifespans increase so rapidly. The prostate wasn't actually as it doesn't have the longevity that the rest of the human body does. And so the prostate doesn't live as long as humans now, generally speaking. Yeah.
But it makes sense. Yeah.
So our bodies evolve very, very slowly, yet our bodies are still 100% nature. And we have these illusions that make us feel like we're not. And then we have some agreements in conventional society that we operate in such a way that we hardly work on any cycle. In the US or in the West, we have okay, so there's Christmas, or there's the winter holidays, and you get 2 weeks off for that. That's kind of it. I mean, even the Christian religions don't pay that much attention to Easter, at least in my observation, and whatever, you know what I mean? The religions don't really even help us to work with cycles as much.
No, not at all.
But we still are nature. And so we still do. It's interesting. Sometimes I will post something like the fall. Fall is particularly, which is what we're in now. It's such a magical time. And it's so magical when you're able to connect with the true purpose of it. That things are dematerializing. Things are dying so that new life can spring. And you know what I mean? There's a dormancy, there's a hibernation that is happening. Even as I live in Los Angeles, where it doesn't even get that cold, there are still things dying and drying. And if we aren't really conscious and honoring it, then I think people trying to move in their regular 9 to 5, or more probably 8 to 7 work life, where there is no shift or change in the cycle, and they feel the dying anyway. And it just creates anxiety because they aren't consciously attached to it or engaged in it. It's not a sacred understanding. It's more just like a panic. Things are dying, you know what I mean?
And it turns into seasonal depression. And I don't mean to do quotes, but it's seasonal depression, because we need to honor that within ourselves, and we need to hibernate. We need to get introverted. We need to look within. That's what we are, a part of the nature. We are going through the same things that every other thing on earth is going through. And we need to honor that and be aware of that. Otherwise, we're not doing ourselves the service that we need to. We need that. It's very important for our evolution as spiritual beings and human beings. It's all connected.
Absolutely. And, for a while, Spirit told me a while ago, that I'm a teacher of nature and spirit, because I am a spirit having a natural experience and I'm a natural being having a spiritual experience. They're inseparable. They are one and the same.
Yeah.
And in our, metaphysical, mystical kinds of seeking, sometimes people come to spirituality because they want to feel a relief or a release from the pressure of physical life.
Yeah.
But that's not actually our spiritual calling. We're actually, to become more spiritual, you have to become more natural. You have to become more physical, and vice versa. Because that's what we're here.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what the soul, the highest purpose, the soul's dispatch is, to be physical. This is the point of focus. And
I mean, that's what we chose when we came here in this life, right?
Yeah.
We chose this existence, and there is for a reason for it, whatever that may be. But it is, you have to be able to combine that spiritual and the physical together. And for me, that is honoring, the earth in this way. And that's where paganism comes into play for me. And it just feels so beautiful and natural and normal.
Yeah, absolutely. And so did you start practicing after you had your witch awakening and start doing craft and rituals? And
not so much. It took me a while. Honestly, it probably took me till about maybe 6 years ago, I'd say, to really start practicing. And I mean, because there's, in this day and age, there obviously is something as being in the, the spiritual closet, the broom closet, there's all different levels of kind of coming out as, who you are, because the word witch obviously has a connotation that goes along with it that might not be looked on so reverently or, so well by so many. But it took me a while. Like I first started just kind of doing things on my own, doing certain, I'd say rituals just for, it could be for, abundance or for health or for someone else in my family. And I started doing just these little things on my own. And then actually once I found Crystal and Compton, I just started really feeling more confident and secure in what I was doing and in who I was. And it, took me about, I'm going to say a year after I started, I took my first, crystal class, which was one of Crystal's classes, I should say, the 10-day detox.
That was the first one you took?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
The first one I took. Yeah. So it was the 10-day detox. And that was in February of 2015.
Wow.
And so then in September is when I kind of started coming out as being the spiritual person I was to the people around me. And even then I was not calling myself a witch. I was not, in my mind. I was like, I'm not going to call myself a witch. That's not for me to call myself. I was still struggling with that. Though I know deep down, now I know that I always was. And this is, I know I've had past lives as a witch as well. Like it's just a part of my being, but it took me a while to get there and to really be proud of it and honor it and be able to say, yeah, I'm a witch. So, it took me a while to start, really coming out and working with people and doing the rituals and whatnot. So it did take me a while. So it probably, I'm going to say after I first started feeling attracted to learning about paganism, probably took me another 7-8 years before it really, I was ready to step out into the world as that. And now it's great because, I'll have so many people, in my community or, friends, even friends who I don't see all the time. They'll be like, so I hear you're doing this. This is so cool. I love it. And I love seeing, sorry, that was one of my cats.
One of your familiars.
Yes. Exactly. And now they it's great to see it more mainstream and just more accepted. And I'm so excited to be able to claim this and take these negative connotations to the word, the term witchcraft or to the word witch, And for people like you and me and so many others out there to be able to bring really joy and love and just magic back to these words, because they deserve it. These words deserve to have that power and intention and energy behind that, and not what it, what it was for centuries.
Yeah, I like to say that it's like I'm redeeming a word,
Yeah.
because the word witch has so much positive, beautiful energy infused into it. And I would say the negative and dark energy that was projected upon it and used as a way to harm people, it can't overcome the light. The dark cannot overcome the light that is infused into it. And for me, that was even like, I had a negative association with the word God because of
Yeah.
being in the church.
Yeah.
And the church had told me God is this and he is this and all this kind of stuff. And so I didn't use the word God for a while. And then one day I realized, wait, universe means God to me. So I didn't use the word
Yes.
God. I just
Yes.
call it something else. And so I just chose to redeem the word God. And it has a personal meaning to me that is almost like my one-to-one relationship with the prime creator energy. That's how I have redeemed it, or what I associate it as. And, I use a lot of different words for God.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
God's not the only one I use, but God has, it's come back into my heart in the way that I want it to be. And I
Love
think
that.
that's fantastic. I think it's really healing. I wanted to highlight this comment from Kate. I strongly feel that I chose to be here, and I love the beautiful earth with all its magnificent and messy creatures on her. Ooh,
Love it.
amen.
Yes.
I also was thinking while you're talking about that, Amanda Ray, who we love and adore, she posted like a week ago something on Instagram, and it was like a meme, and it said, "Do something today that would have gotten you persecuted as a witch in the past." And I was
Yes.
like, I literally had just talked to my black cat telepathically and asked him what his lifespan was. Asked him how long he planned to live. And I was like, I think that
That'll
would
do
do
it.
it.
That'll do it. I know. Honestly, I feel like every single day would, yeah, I'd be
For
in
sure.
a big trouble.
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. With all the familiars you have around you, all of the
Oh my
other
Lord. Yeah,
implements and correspondences that you have around you. So
absolutely.
I have a witchcraft story that is really powerful. I have a couple, so let's see, which one am I going to tell?
Bring it on.
Okay,
I
I'm
can't
going to
wait to
tell. This
hear.
is Yeah. So this is a tale of sympathy magic. Sympathy magic being you are having a ritual because you want to send healing energy to someone else. Now, this is not invading their energy space at all. It's like a very dynamic prayer. And any of the magic that we do, whether it's for ourselves or for someone else, we always make sure that we wrap it in the wrapper of the highest good for all, the unity consciousness. And what I tend to do with when I'm ending a ritual, the spell that I end it with is like any blind spots will be redeemed by the light. Something along those lines as a part of it. Like anything
Oh,
that
I
I
like
don't
that.
understand will
Yeah.
be is also the light is taking care of it right now, or God, whatever you like. Anyway, so the way my rituals, one of the ways that I do ritual is I'll have something. I'll be like, what do I want? And I had this relationship with my employer, and this employer was a male. He was, he would say one thing, but then he would behave a completely different way. So he would say things in certain meetings about like, we're a team, we take care of one another. I really care about you know, your happiness and your well-being, and I want to make sure that you're all honored. And then he would like pressure people to do things and get this done no matter what, which that phrase meant like break laws even. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
and he would yell at people and he would call them names. So, you know, so he had this duplicity, and it was he not just for myself, but he was, working with him created a lot of pain and suffering in people's, dissatisfaction. And so anyway, so what I start with, what do I want? Like get very clear about my intention. But then, and so that is like, I want I want this person to not be the source of pain in my life. So that was kind of like what I wanted. Then what I do is I walk through questioning each of my energy centers. And and for this ritual, I go from the crown to the root. And I ask them, what do I need to know about fill in the blank? Not having this person as a source of pain. I mean, I'm not sure if that's exactly what it is. I'm recalling it now. And then I just channel from the crown, and I type it, and I channel and channel it. And then I move on to third eye, and then I go down each of the energy centers. And then by the time I finish that, even the intention probably has refined the what I want. And then I just have an idea of how to actually craft a spell, like an incantation around it. And I have some refrains that actually rhyme, because rhyming does disrupt the critical mind and helps the subconscious mind to engage in it. But spells don't have to rhyme. But when they do, they can be really powerful. You know, it can be a powerful tool. So I have the refrains, but then I state affirmations. So what I did with this person was I chose to focus my awareness, my consciousness on the positive things that he said. And I said, I called him my friend in this spell. I remember I said, I call back the words of the friend. I enhance these in our lives. I bless these words. I believe in these words and as good intentions that will be followed through for this friend. And I that was it. I just like forgot about all of my victimhood with him, and and then I wrapped it up in the rest of it. And of course, how I ended is that any blind spots be surrendered to the light, and that it's all in the highest good. Can I tell you that immediately? It wasn't only in my relationship with him, but in other people's relationship. And he shifted. Now, I'm not saying he became like, a walking avatar, but it was profound. And he started to do things for himself and talking about it, how he was actually engaging in his what I would call spiritual practice and like positive work, consciousness work. And he started talking about it. And that was one of the things I called in too. I said, whatever it is that is aligned for this person to feel their spiritual alignment, that this would be called in. And he was talking to us about it, and he was nicer and he was kinder. Now, I don't know what happened after that. I left the company, but it was amazing. I was shocked how direct it worked. It was beautiful. So that's sympathy magic. And all I did was call in. He said it. Like, I actually was calling his words. So I wasn't even like casting anything. I was just aligning with it. I was agreeing with his intentions that he spoke out loud. It was amazing.
That's incredible. And that just goes to show you the power that we all have in order to shift something in a way that's really just beneficial. There's nothing dark about that. It's really beautiful. I mean, it's something that grew him and evolved him into just more of a beautiful spiritual being and human being that he already was. It just was, kind of hidden down somewhere,
And so I aligned with it. And by the way, a part of my spell also was mostly about me saying, I choose to see this person in their higher potential. I choose to see this person as already where they need to be. And I align myself to the frequencies that has brought us into a healthy and mutually beneficial alignment. And I choose to receive the lessons from this relationship. And I choose to deliver lessons that I'm meant to. And I did all of that so that I would change my frequency. Maybe I just quantum leaped to a reality where he shifted and he's still over there on that other timeline doing whatever he do. I don't know.
It's right. Who knows? But in our reality right now,
that's the one I selected. And I selected to be the person in that reality as well. So, do you have, I don't mean to put you on the spot, do you have any, some witchy success stories?
It's funny because I have one somewhat similar to what you were talking about that I have to tell.
Good.
So when I used to work at a hospital, I was a pharmacy technician and a anesthesia tech. And I worked in the OR at this huge trauma hospital here in Rochester. And I worked there for about seven years or so. And I had a good friend there. She was a very good friend, but she was very draining on me. Her energy was very draining. And I was still trying this. I was still learning myself and how to protect myself. And so I started before I would go to work every day, because it was a very draining job as well. I learned how to protect myself. I'd meditate every day and protect myself with the light, where it came to coming into contact with patients and all the workers there, all the nurses, the doctors, just everything. And then I realized that this one friend was really, really draining me. And it was it was becoming very difficult. And I started noticing, I was starting to avoid her, which I didn't want to do because I really enjoyed her time outside of work. Yeah. So then I started meditating and starting to really think about and put my intention into, I need to separate myself somehow, get myself out of this situation. I need some kind of a resolution in a way that's going to be best for all of us, for everyone. Because at that point in time, I did not have that confidence to just go right up to her and tell her, you're driving me crazy. You can't talk to me at work,
Yeah.
I mean,
tough medicine.
Yeah. So, so I really started using my energies and speaking, in meditation, really, even not just saying it in my head, but speaking words. And I wish I could tell you now what it was I would say, but it was all very much to become, to find a cohesive resolution that would be beneficial for all of us, for us in this situation. And first, like 2 weeks later, after I started doing
and
this.
that's the Addie.
Yes, now it's Addie. These crazy boys, they're all over. Hey, Addie. You were right. You were totally right. So 2 weeks after I started daily doing these meditations and kind of working these spells and these words, I don't want this to sound bad because it really was a really good thing. She'd been working at the hospital for over 20 years and she put in her notice.
Yeah. Well, it's not bad. Maybe that's exactly what she needed. I mean, we assume, right?
It absolutely was. And it was the best thing she could have done. But it was kind of like, I mean, as far as I knew, she hadn't been thinking. She had been talking a bit about, I got to find something else, whatever. But it was never anything that she was really taking steps on doing. And it, and she left. And so, and at that point too, for me, I knew there was more for me. I couldn't continue in doing this kind of work. This work was draining me, and as it was wonderful, it served its purpose for me. And I learned a lot from this job. I knew it wasn't something I could do for any more extended period of time. Yeah. And I wanted to start on my spiritual work. I wanted to focus on this. This is what I knew I needed to do. So about a month after that, I had an accident. I slipped and fell. I messed up my knee and I couldn't work for a year. And during that year I was on disability. I started creating my spiritual side and my spiritual business, and I never had to go back. So,
was it your right knee?
It was my left knee.
Okay. That's the knee that I just banged up too. The left knee.
Was it? Yeah. It was my left knee. I ended up having surgery months after I tore my MCL and it was, it just slipped on ice. It was nothing too traumatic, but traumatic enough where, at the job I had, you were running around on concrete, working in an OR, working in trauma situations. Yeah, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So, so I really did end up creating or manifesting this situation that really propelled me into where I am now, and into my friend too. And it ended up working out really well for both of us, and we're still friends to this day.
Good. Yeah. Good. Well, and what the mind can't handle, it sublimates and then it puts it into the body. And so the subconscious mind always gets what it needs. It always gets what it needs. And it shows it to us. I mean, the knee is like changing directions on my path, being flexible, being able to be, like you needed to clear, tearing your MCL means that you need to stitch it together. But usually there's also some debris that needs to be sucked out when you tear the MCL. Totally. So you need to clear out some static. You needed to stitch it, needed to fall apart so it could be stitched back together again. And it's what you're receiving from the world, it was your left side. Yep. What's so great about like engaging in your in witchcraft is that you have to be in the subtle energies, and hopefully we don't have to slip and fall. Which I literally did day before yesterday. But I don't have to have surgery. I just banged myself up a little bit. But
you made yourself felt pretty good.
I did. That's what this band, if you could see it, that's what this bandage is about. It's not that bad. But yeah, so, but yeah, being in, I feel like if you're engaged in, I mean, being an OR tech and anesthesia tech, I mean, that is a regimented system that's not really although I have to say, in emergency rooms, though, they know about the lunar cycles in the emergency room, God. Right? It's undeniable.
Let me tell you, and I'll tell you, these nurses, these doctors, there are many witches down there, whether they know it or not.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Like the traumas you see come in, I mean, gunshot wounds, just all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, you see people pass away and it starts to not to affect you. You see, I mean, it does, but you know, it really taught me a lot where it comes to the work I do now. I have to say that. And it was absolutely something that I had to do, something I had to experience, because it opened up this whole new world for me. And I will never regret that time in my life working in that position. It was eye-opening. That's for sure.
I think it's really interesting how common it is that people who have moved into a spiritual or healing, I would say career, just because simply like I have to do, my whole life has to be around spirituality. And unfortunately, I live in a society where I have to make money from the thing that I'm doing most of the time. So, you know what I mean? Like that's just how it is. And a lot of the people that we know, that we work with, that we have in our classes, the themes that you see, they're shifting from being a healthcare provider, being a health worker, or being in the service industry. Like this one here too. She's also she's one of our sisters from the hospitality industry. Hairdressers, you know what I mean? Like, hairdressers just like soaking up people's crown all day long, and providing a service, helping them to feel better about themselves in all the different ways. So many service positions. I wanted to highlight this comment here, which is just a human word for spiritual mastery. Ooh, I love it.
Oh,
Hard to put into words a true definition for spiritual mastery and bring self online with soul. Always the best intention for highest good for all. Tricky business in our words. That's true. Words are tricky. But that's but then, that's when incantations and spells can be so wonderful, because they are a vibratory 3D, because we're bringing it into 3D with the sound resonance. They are a representation of the subconscious realm, of the subtle realms. And so being able to shape it into the meaning of words, which are way more limited. The words are way more limited than the energy beneath them. But to be able to infuse it into it, I mean, that right there is alchemy. I'm going to take these sounds, I'm going to infuse it with all of these energies. The energies can't possibly be contained. So these are just symbols to activate it. And I'm going to use my body, my voice. I'm going to use my instrument and activate it in that way. Oh, I love it. I'm so excited about her.
I know. I'm like getting the chills right now. Like, can we just start?
Are you leaving? Olivia's trying to sneak out.
No, Olivia, no.
I'm having so much fun listening to this.
You can come in here. Olivia, do you want to come and have a chat? Come here.
I knew you were going to do that.
Well, I didn't turn on the other microphone, so you have to share mine. So, what do you think? Are you a witch? Where are you? Oh, here you are.
Yes.
Okay, get in the camera.
Yes, she says. I love it. Yes.
She's hiding.
Where do I look? Yes.
Did you have a witch awakening at some point? Did you have a witch awakening at some point?
Did I have a witch awakening at some point?
Well, you're awake. Did you seriously? Do you align with the word witch? Do you like the word witch? Does it make sense to you? Get in the microphone.
Yes, and I feel like there's a lot of weight in that word that exists around it, just because of what other people's projection is when you decide to use that word on yourself. So I typically don't use it, although yes, I'm definitely a witch.
And well, but so are some of the other words that we would use, like
Mhm.
psychic or,
Mhm.
energy heal, anything, you know what I mean? Like someone
Yeah.
would say, oh, that's woo woo or lame
Yeah.
or something. But speaking of that and speaking of the words and the etymology, what I think when we're redeeming words like witch or we're redeeming practices, as we were talking about the history of it and tapping into the thought form energy of it, because our ancestors 100% developed this. And so we are tapping into those ancestral lines. We are healing it. We're calling in past versions of ourselves and also past versions of our bloodlines. Yeah.
Yes.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a kind of ancestral work. You don't have to stay if you want to go. Olivia makes beautiful jewelry too.
Oh,
Yeah. Do you have some on here?
Ooh,
I do have some.
really?
I
Yes.
typically make a new piece with every moon cycle. So
Ooh.
I have
New pieces every moon cycle, she
shungite
said.
and rainbow moonstone. you guys.
Rainbow moonstone.
Hey, everybody.
Oh my
Beautiful.
goodness.
Are you taking off?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll
Okay.
see you.
Okay.
Wait, I don't know. I'll talk to you in a
Bye,
bit. Yeah. And, I don't necessarily use the word witch up front all the time. Well, I mean, I say I'm a teacher of nature and spirit. That's basically saying I'm a witch.
Yes. Well, and I'm starting to
You
really
can leave the door open,
personally get even more like, where it comes to the persecution of the witches, it really was also really just about, a lot of it was, just strong women who could take care of themselves, women who had to fend for themselves. And if that was you, then you were a witch, because it was scary to see a powerful, independent woman. So, I mean, where it comes down to it, if you're a woman, you're kind of a witch regardless.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the old days.
Yeah. Absolutely. If you are, if you have any kind of sovereignty, if you have any kind of authority, or if you have any a connection to animals, I mean, it's actually really not a big deal to talk to plants. You know what I mean? Like I remember seeing a Sesame Street when I was little about that. That would have been witchery. That would have been a hanging cause.
Yes, it would have been.
You know what?
It would have been something, that's for sure.
You know what else is a weird kind of foreshadowing to, like you watching Charmed? In high school, I played Elizabeth Proctor in The Crucible.
Oh my gosh, were you kidding me?
It was amazing. And it was the 300th anniversary of the Salem witch trials. It was 1992, and that happened in 1692. It was amazing. Wow. And then the person who played John Proctor, who's played my husband in the play, just like 3 months ago, he actually did it again in Fullerton, California here. He did John Proctor, and oh my gosh, it was so amazing. It was so beautiful. It's like a community theater. But these actors were freaking amazing. And they had to wait a while because they had started it before the pandemic, and then they, were able to stage it after that. And it was
I've never seen that. I've never seen
Yeah, and the film is pretty good, but you really want to see it on stage. You really want to, and even if you just read it, I think you'll love it, because the language is interesting. He had to recreate the language in order to make it. He was making some assumptions, but it feels really genuine.
Yeah, I definitely need. I need to get into that, right? Because I, at this time in my life too, I'm just very being pulled into learning so much of, centuries ago, what our ancestors did, what they lived through, what is just something that I'm drawn to really kind of dive into at this point. So thank you for mentioning that. I
just remembered another witchy kind of ancestry thing. Gosh, I have to look it up in my journal because I can't recall it cognitively right now. But I was in meditation, and Spirit gave me a date and a name. I don't remember if it was one name or two names, but I think it was two names. But he gave me the name, and I found them. And one was, the woman was killed as a witch, and then her husband, who outlived her. And Spirit told me about them and the year, and I was able to Google the year and these two names. I didn't get the last name.
Stop it.
But I was able to, I swear to you, it was crazy. And I was like, okay, so got some witchy roots.
Absolutely you do. And it's funny because I recently, over 3 years ago, I finally found out my ancestry. I know I've talked about this before here in the lab and whatever, and finding out my ancestry totally solidified so much in my life and everything that I've been drawn to, because I'm pretty much Celtic,
Me too.
English, Scottish, Irish. Like it's all right there.
All of the all of the there's like 4 Celtic regions, and I think I'm like all of them. Like I'm mostly 3.5 of them.
Welsh too. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Welsh is the one I'm only about half. Like it's a little bit more distant and a little less in my bloodline, but the other 3 very strongly. Yep.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
me too.
Mm-hmm.
Mel calls me the whitest person in the world.
Me too. My ancestry, my DNA test came back, and it said like 76 Western European. 76 Western European, and like it was like 1%. It was like 1%, of course, like less than 1% African, because we all have one mother in Africa. Yeah. Everyone has the same one mother.
Right.
And then there was like 1% that was like French German. Like that was this French Spanish. I don't know. That as non-white as it got was just like Spanish. Like it's still freaking European.
It's exactly. Like so white. Like, I think gross. I had like 2% Germanic European. I had maybe 5% Swedish, and the rest was Scottish, English, Welsh, and Irish. And I was like, we
may be sisters. I don't know.
I know, right?
We think identical. And then my friend, one of my best friends, he showed me his beautiful, and it was like such a beautiful like mosaic of everything. And he's an actor, so I'm like, well, you're really lucky. You can like really attach to a lot,
to a lot,
in your blood. Like you've got all of this beautiful, and I'm just like white.
Yeah, white. Because again, Malcolm still like every day, he's like, you are the whitest person I know. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's and it's great to know. It's almost like validation to know that what I've been feeling, what I've been drawn to, and to the ancestry, and learning about my ancestral lines. It's validation to know that it's right. That it's what I've been feeling is correct into, my bloodlines, into what I'm connected to in that past. So it's
all of that energy is valid. It's there. Like whether it's like your past life, even if it's maybe hopefully I've got a little something more interesting in past lives.
A little diversity.
Some diversity. And that's valid. And so are the bloodlines. Like it's all valid. You're reading Jeremy's comment. Says you took a DNA test. Turns out you're 100% that witch.
Jeremy saying this, I was just thinking about you 2 friggin' days ago, and I can't believe you're here right now, man. Oh God, I love you so much, Jeremy.
I know, he's the best. There's another comment that says, interesting how people in the witch community keep saying that no witches were ever burned at the stake. I always disagree. Oh, it happens. See, I don't know. I guess I'm not that much in the witch community in that specific way. I don't know why, because that happened in, I think it's historically accurate. It happened definitely during the Salem witch trials. It also happened during the Crusades. So
I mean, it's well documented.
Mm-hmm. I wonder why, though. I'm interested. 8888 Mystic. Why do you think that is? If you're still here, if you want to comment, I wonder what that is that makes. Is it? I'm wondering. I'm just supposing. I don't know.
Why would? I'm interested too.
If it's like wanting to not feel like that victim, and that's beautiful. I get that. You know what I mean? Like not wanting to identify to something as powerfully painful as that victimhood. So I maybe that's why. I don't know. And of course, we're talking about a lot of people who who think that. So we can't really make assumptions. Jeremy, I love you.
Boy, I'm going to be getting in touch with you. You better you watch for it.
Yes. And Kate says strong women and men who felt threatened by that strength. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, where it comes to the term witch. Mm-hmm. And that's why, I really feel so strongly about, what Tricia and I are doing with this workshop. We want to bring it back to what it truly is, which is just so beautiful. And it's just really owning who we are and who we're supposed to be and who we have always been.
Yeah.
And, let's reclaim these words and this energy and make it what it's supposed to be. Yes, absolutely. And I couldn't imagine doing it with anyone else besides Tricia.
Oh, so I can't imagine doing it with anyone else besides you. You're like my witch idol,
Oh my God. I love you, girl.
Oh, I love you too. I'm so excited. And, we're going to we have it infused with our familiars too. Stephanie has 3 orange cats, and Ivy is kind of like brownish and white, right?
Yeah, she looks like a calico, but I don't think she is quite a calico. But she's more brindle, orange, white.
3 orange for the Halloween time. And I've got I've got 2 tuxies, a black. He's all black, except he's got a little white patch right here on his chest, like it's his priest collar. And he's got like black. He's got like black gums and really long canines. So it's like he's a vampire priest. He's like a mix of like
he totally is
of like overcoming his dark will with so much benevolence. He's an amazing creature. That's my Barnabas, and he's named after a romantic vampire. And then I have my silver interdimensional Kankan, the Russian blue.
They're all so amazing. All of them. And gosh, and think about it. When I came to visit you this summer, we had 1 cat.
I know. Just
and
Ivy.
now we have 4, and you had 4 when we were there, and now we have 4.
Feels right. Feels good.
Right. Yeah. And I remember you saying to me, "Don't you think more kitties are better? Wouldn't you like to have 4?" Yeah. And now look, what did you do, you witch?
I had my cauldron out, and I'm like, more kitties, more kitties.
Totally.
Well, this has been so fun. So everyone, Stephanie C. Weinman, she and I are going to be teaching the Witchcraft Workshop, or we're calling it the Witch Shop. And the link for that is class.lightshineacademy.com/witch shop. And so however you are listening or watching, you can find that in the description, or if you're watching live right now, because we're doing this as kind of a live podcast, broadcast, simulcast, and it's right there on the screen for you. So, and it's also if you're on it live right now, you can see it in the link there too, in the comments. We are very excited about it. We're putting together these rituals. We're going to be doing ritual practice together, very solemn, very powerful. We're going to be teaching about the wheel of the year, cycles, elements, and I'm very excited. I can't wait. It's almost here.
It's all the things.
Meditations as well. It's going to be a beautiful practice.
Herbs, all the things. Yep.
All the things. So we invite you to check that out. Just to go read about it and see if that is going to be, something you want to, engage your light in with us and everyone else who will be there. And
it's Halloween weekend. The veil is at its thinnest, the most magical, openly magical time of the year. So there's going to be some wonderful magic happening that weekend. That's for sure.
And I think after like that crazy retrograde season we just got through, I'm ready to take the reins and set some intentions.
Seriously, let's take control of it. Let's
mastery,
get the upper hand here.
Spiritual mastery. Yes, I want to get back in the masterful seat, because I felt like it was those retrograde planets were. I'm being tongue in cheek, but I really did feel like it. I felt. It was hard to not orient to victimhood. You know what I mean? Like I felt like Saturn is mean to me. It's not true. It's not accurate, but that's
right.
That's what my lower self is
thinking. Why does it hate me so much? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about it. And I love this season, and I love the holiday, and I love All Hallows Eve. And I'm here in Southern California, and I've been here for more than half of my life now. And so I love Dia de los Muertos, and I love some of the Mexican spirituality, which does have some to do with Catholicism and some other Christian religions, but also has to do with Santeria and some other beautiful craft practices. And I love Oaxaca. I visited Oaxaca many times, beautiful spirituality. And anyway, those are just some of the things that influence me as well, just from proximity and my culture that I've been engaged in. So I love Dia de los Muertos and All Hallows Day and All Hallows Eve. So we're going to have fun. So with that, we will call this concluded, and so mote it be.
So mote it be.
I know we got a little silly in that one. And you heard that we had a live studio audience there. We had Olivia Ray in the background. She's helping out and doing some magical work here in the studio with me, so she popping in there a little bit. Anyway, so again, everyone, that is Stephanie C. Weinman. She has Spirit and Sage Healing, or SASH. All of her information is in the description below. Of course, we have the Witchcraft Workshop if you are catching this in time. And also, I wanted to let you know that Stephanie goes live in the Lightshine Lab, and she does the Witching Hour, and it's every other Thursday, I believe. So definitely do join the Lightshine Lab. We have practitioners going up, giving free teaching, reading, and healing, and it's just a beautiful community. If I don't talk about it enough, let me talk about it right now. That is a place to find your spiritual comfort zone, to be able to express yourself and relate with others. All right, everyone, I want to make sure that you saw heard and saw the last episode of Charmed Life and the YouTube channel, because I talked about the animal familiars. If you like the kitties and you like the birdies and the puppies and the everybody's, that was a really great episode. I had a lot of fun co-creating it with my animals. And with that, thanks for tuning in. I love you, whoever you are.